Okay.
Take names.
Now we're fired up. What are we gonna do?
I guess we can just go down to this. I sent you information on the SAFE Act for voting. One of the requirements is that you designate a county office to provide assistance at no charge to anybody needing to obtain a birth certificate in the state of Kansas. So I just need a motion. I guess my office will do it. Here's a copy of the form we have to fill out if you want to look at it.
You needed something else to do.
I guess we did. So.
It's not a whole lot involved, just a couple questions.
Just fill out the form and mail it in form, basically. We can't charge them postage. We have to pay the postage. I can't see it being a big deal in staff.
So then, in turn, does the state charge back to us the copy for the copy?
Copy's
Only
free.
individuals they'll charge.
It's free.
It is
They get
free.
one free
Oh,
copy.
well, then I'll make a motion. We go ahead and accept this Secure and Fair Election Act.
I second the requirement.
It's been moved and seconded.
You're
accept-
appointing the county clerk's office.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're appointing the county clerk's office to do what?
Well, to
Assist
assist
people.
at no charge.
To get a birth certificate.
Right.
So they can vote. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. One day.
Okay?
You're welcome.
The 911.
The 911 fund, we've had to, we passed that one resolution back in September, October, August, September, establishing the fee. Well, right after that, I find out that this 911 Act has been, will go into effect January 1, and that resolution is no longer in effect. So we have to pass a new resolution rescinding the first resolution and establishing this 911 fund because it all goes into this one fund now instead of there being wireless and then just the regular 911. And as I understand, the money all comes from the state now, 53 cents a line or something. I don't know.
53 cents per month per prescriber.
Yeah,
And then prepaid is
$1.06.
1.06.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have a choice, do we?
No.
What's the number on that?
Oh. Six.
6.
Yep.
I make motion we approve resolution 2012-6.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We accept those. Resolution number 2012-6. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
Okay, and then Doris asked for a letter of support for the community garden project she's working on. Tompkins? Remember we had the, were you here when she did the first community garden? You might not have been on the board then.
No.
Down on South. You know the street that community garden was on? South Nutting, I think. She had a part of a block that people could come in and garden their plots, and then she didn't do it last year.
How'd it go?
I think it went pretty well from what she.
I thought some people on their own must have had some plots or something. I done it last year. Went by them.
Well, see, they sold that lot.
Oh,
So-
somebody else used it. Okay.
But now she's found another lot in town that they'll let her do it on.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's trying to get a grant for some of the stuff, so she asked for a letter of support. So I typed that
Is
up.
this
She
the letter?
had, all the spaces were taken,
I
and
think.
she had a waiting list.
So everybody gets their own little plot? and-
Yeah, that's what I.
10 square feet.
And they
They
does
tend
the
to
whole
own the plot.
community get to pick from their plot, or do they?
I
they
don't know
It's
how it works.
individual.
No, I think it's
They
just
get
for,
their 10 square feet and that's their stuff?
Yeah, that's their
I
stuff.
see.
But I think the city supplied water for it, didn't they? I think.
I believe so. So she wants a letter of support.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we submit this letter of support for community garden.
I second it.
Again, it's been moved and seconded that we submit this letter of support for community garden. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, and I sent you Lucy's response to our email last week.
Yes.
Never heard back from home.
I was, she,
So,
well, at least she, last week it was being suggested that she was confused by this or didn't know where it was.
well, according to the paper, she had passed on it. So, they're still monkeying around with those maps, so who knows what's going to happen.
At least she responded and
Yes.
knows what point of view.
Yes,
Very good.
that's all I have.
That's it.
Shred that.
We're in recess. Oh, wait. Couple minutes. Huh?
I got a report for you.
It's the hospital.
Yeah, this is a hospital report. Are you guys today?
Good.
I just printed this off. They sent me a revised one, so I haven't even looked at it.
Could I peek at that?
Come on up, Rob.
Yeah, you can peek at
Because
it.
they,
Maybe you can explain it to us.
they gave us a revised one last night too and told us that they weren't approved. Yeah, that's the one we got last night.
That they weren't what?
They weren't approved yet?
Yeah, that they weren't finalized yet. The numbers are terrible. The real information is on the second page. Last month, they had, or in December, they had gross revenues of $196,000, that went up to $207,000. Net revenues went up by $30,000 almost. The operating expenses, they cut about $70,000 out of that, but still running in the red to the tune of $92,000. It's running at an unsustainable rate.
Well, and they were holding a whole bunch of those checks, so I got that distribution to them in January too.
Is that why? Is that why this is distorted? Or, I mean, when are we gonna actually see some real numbers where we can tell if what they're doing is working, I guess is what I really wanna know.
What I see is that I've tracked it, and the revenues are up. They're being used about 30% more than they were in December. But they're still only being used to the tune of half of what they were a year ago. A year ago they had revenues of $400,000. This year they've got revenues of $200,000. We see the changes down in the bottom to the tune of $70,000, almost $100,000 swing from one side. If you look back at the prior month, it shows $192,000 loss. We're down to a $92,000 loss. So the cuts have been made, most of the cuts have been made in the expenses, and now the revenues have to swing back up. But this is a number that depressed just about everybody on the board last night. It's not what we were hoping to see.
This number reflects December or January?
January.
So it should have been a clearer picture.
Yes, sir.
looks like your budget's about 350 and your actual's 270, that's about 150. And your budget, what you're anticipating on income.
We need to run a minimum income of about 310,000 to make it function. And that's not happening at this point.
Well, I was talking to Todd, and he was talking like patients. The other day he counted breakfast trays, and there were 16. That's a pretty good patient load.
Swing beds is up. Some of the other stuff is way down.
Was it all swing bed? I mean,
A
is
lot
that
of
a lot
it
of it is
is,
swing
a lot
bed?
of it is still swing bed stuff that seems to be functioning.
Well, that brings in income, but that's not gonna
It's not,
pay all the bills.
no.
Now, did the board respond?
Well, we were not happy, to say the least. I don't know where we go from here, I'll be honest. I think it's time to potentially look at restructuring the whole hospital.
Okay.
I would ask Mr. Moody what he thought since he's more aware of what's medically sound, what he thought was the minimum we needed to retain
I'm not sure what the question is.
on the hospital. If it were to be cut down to an effective minimum, what would you say that effective minimum was?
I don't think I know enough about their operation to really answer that question. I mean, it's certainly advantageous for us to have a spot where we can bring a patient that they don't have to transport 30 miles, you know, to where they can get some care. You know, the other side of that is just purely the economic and the counting factor. And I'm not a hospital administrator, so I
But I'm
really know
asking
nothing
what
about
kinds
that.
of services is it that our community needs, that the hospital can provide, but what are the minimums from the community side?
Like I said, my background isn't in hospital operations, so I really don't even know what services. You know, the Reed is probably the good one to answer that question. I mean, that she's got 20-some years in hospital operations,
And the numbers they're horrible. What we're seeing, it's bleeding out.
why is it not hitting what was?
We're not getting the patients. We're not getting the patient load. They've cut the expenses down significantly.
Can they cut employees further? And Vern Minnis asked about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, is we're gonna get down to a minimum at a point. And if,
I mean, I think just purely from an operational standpoint, not from knowing what the heck, how a hospital operates, it seems logical that your employee numbers have to mirror your income until you can get your income level moving up in the right direction. Then you can bring back your employees.
I agree. Well, last year, our employee costs were $286,000 for January. This year it was $133,000. That's a substantial reduction. I don't know how much more that can take.
I'd say that's the question for Todd.
Yeah. But they indicated that these were not the final numbers. When they sent out the packet, the original packet said our losses were 67,000 or 68,000, and then when we got to the meeting last night, we got the updated numbers. And I know these aren't the final numbers, so I don't know exactly where we sit.
Do you know if they got to a point where they can reconcile the checkbook?
I believe so. We got, part of the packet we did get was, the check register with
I've got it figured out. Okay. That's a real concern of mine, whether they can balance that checkbook every month or not. Okay.
Well, it is progress, Ron, it's just,
It's
we're not gonna have.
just heartening, yeah.
Yeah.
When we came and told you guys, or they came and told you guys that they thought we could run hospital at $120,000 loss for the year, and then we find out we're almost at that first month.
Well,
January is a bad month.
it makes me wonder about their projections. I mean, it's easy to look at the expense side, say, well, we cut this, but the income side, they were projecting that high, as if they had a doctor.
Well, or as if it were being properly utilized, you know.
I mean, they
We
had,
got to,
they've had 6, 7, 8 months of history without a doctor. That would have given a pretty good indication where their utilization is going to be. Is it at that level or not?
I think that I think it's lower than it needs to be. I think we have a advertising and.
Well, I understand that there's potential there,
But I think, yeah,
when it comes to this budget making, I'm wondering where they were coming from.
I truly don't know.
It would have been nice to ask Hillary some of those questions. You know, when you got an 8-month history and you're
Yeah.
projecting way above that, just because you want to, that's kind of deceptive.
Well, their projections were lower than last year's actuals, but quite a bit.
On the receipts.
Yeah. But our receipts are even lower than our projections.
I see.
Probably from any organization that's struggling, probably expecting increase in revenue is probably not very logical thinking.
Well,
When something's struggling, you know, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
any business, and
to be
unless they're having
honest,
a fire sale, ain't everybody rushing over there to buy stuff.
our revenues went up 30% January versus, or 20% January versus December, which shows a growth curve in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Whether that can continue is another matter, but we are seeing corrections, huge corrections in the right direction. And just, boy, the numbers are tough to, when you start seeing it.
Well, something you can't control, like the outpatients there, the
Yeah.
year before was 191,000 actual, and the prior to sewer, actual this year is 127, about $170,000 difference in that. That figure there was backed up, you would be.
Yeah, we'd be in much better
Much
shape.
better shape.
You know, there's a few things that I didn't kind of point out in some of the meetings that the hospital does generate back to the county through EMS, and that's, you know, any Wichita transfer, we'll lose all those if it was to close, because it's a stair step. You know, if we transfer a patient over to Pratt or Great Bend and then they need to go on to Wichita, they'll utilize their own service. So we probably run 25, 35 of those calls a year, which is upwards of, you know, $40,000, that we won't get any of that. Would take 3 just here in the last week that would have all, we would have had well, no, we wouldn't have had transport at all. They would have just went to Pratt or Great Bend. Most likely they would have just drove themselves.
Pie charts, so.
Then they would have been stair stepped on through that other.
Well, they got $133,000, almost $134,000 in 180 days in A&R. Aged. And I don't know what that plus 90 is. Now it says 180 and then plus 90. Is that?
It's got to be everything over 90.
Well, if you're looking at 180 days from the time of charges, and then I don't understand what, here's 180 days plus, and then over 90. Is that
I would presume.
90 over 180?
Well, I would presume that's cumulative of all of these including the individual. But I don't know. Again, we've got a lot of,
Well,
and I know they're working on that.
then you look at charity.
I don't understand. I don't know if the spreadsheet's right yet because of all these.
Well,
Fields
this,
that aren't-
this whole side over here is pretty much basis. It
Oh,
doesn't-
Yeah, okay.
Because it does a year-to-date kind of thing, and that whole right side is useless.
I don't know if that's just their formulas aren't right yet. Maybe there's,
On the depreciation, I haven't been doing in the past, apparently. So that's part of what we added on to this. When we did the adjustments yesterday with me. Kept this from 67 to 92, part of it was there. The rest of it was here. Medicare contribution adjustments.
what were you saying, Clayton? The chair?
Charities was only like $1,500 or something like that, so.
Yeah, line 40, that's your provisional uncollected accounts, which is at 6,800.
What is professional fees, what's that? Is that her in the hospital, the Pratt?
Well, Pratt Management, we pay, apparently we pay,
Emergency room coverage.
and we pay people like, Hutch, that have to come down and do evaluations so that we can run the physical therapy department. And we've got a bunch of different things there. And that's for, that's
Is,
really.
is that gonna go down any more?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, isn't
We're
it,
actually paying people now, which is a good thing.
the hospital should be recouping these professional fees, aren't they, from patients?
Yeah, well, that would
Supposed to,
eventually.
aren't they?
They're supposed to. It should show up on the top half of the
Right.
thing somewhere. So you look out here, so we've got, we've got, what's that, we got physician billing and I don't know. Some parts of it are stable, some parts of it just seem to vacillate wildly, but they're not at all what I'd hoped to see.
Let me see what February brings.
Wouldn't panic yet, huh?
No.
I know it's discouraging, but you gotta give it a little time.
Making moves in the right direction.
If this stuff was all pointing down, it'd be different. If it's pointing up, it's just not where you want it. That's, that's not to be unexpected, really.
It's got to show that it's viable.
But it can't do it overnight.
No,
This is not,
Right. half, I guess, is better than nothing.
it's in the right direction, and it's dramatically in the right direction.
It's $100,000 a month better than it was last month. So.
Exactly.
That doesn't sound good to me.
No.
It's not good, that's for sure.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
We have a 1983 pickup that I'd like to go ahead and, it was up at, I believe it was up at Hudson, the last place that it was home. And we'd like to just sell it. But we don't have any use for it. It was a brush truck, and it was really undersized and underused because they don't have very many miles on it. But we just don't have any use for it. So
It runs.
it runs pretty good.
It's got the bed, pickup bed on it.
It's got a regular pickup bed in it. Yeah,
It's had brush bed on it.
Well, it was kind of
Water tank in the back.
just a water tank in the back with a pump sitting right behind it. But it's really overloaded because it's even tilted the tire about the front. Yeah.
Well, at least you can ride down the middle of the road where the
Yeah.
ground is. You wouldn't even have to steer.
Other than that, the old pickup for somebody that just needed a beat around. Of course, the gas at $4 a gallon. I don't know if you know. It probably doesn't get real good gas mileage.
It's
but,
a what model?
It's a 250, I believe. Yeah. Big guy.
You got a sealed bid?
Seal bid?
Yeah.
Does
Only
the pump and
85.
the water tank go with that?
Hmm?
What, does the pump, is it just the pickup, or does the water tank and the?
No, the water tank, we have no use for the water tank. I think we're gonna take the pump off, but the water tank can stay.
What year, it's an 80?
83.
Is it four-wheel drive, I assume
Mhm.
it is.
Four-wheel drive.
You'll find a buyer for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think somebody pick it up. Doesn't have a whole lot of miles and it's in good shape, so.
Water your cattle with it. Water tank in the back.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
it'd be good for
A
that.
lot of farmers, do
Yeah,
burn it,
right.
and it's nice to have
Right.
a tank and
As
a
long as
lamp
it,
that's
yeah, as
set
long as they
up.
don't need to drive it a long ways.
Yeah.
I don't wanna drive 30 miles back and forth to the farm field or something. Might run out of gas.
You haven't been on the farm life, has
No.
he? If we gotta pull it with the tractor, we do, Steve.
So we got that.
It's like pretty good to pick up to me.
I know.
Lisa's going, whoa. Still on my one about
There
this.
are a lot of bidders.
Lots of paper.
We canceled a couple telephone, we had a telephone line at Stafford, we had a telephone line at Maxville, and they just weren't being utilized, and they were pretty expensive, so I don't remember what they were. I think they were like $100 or even more per month, so we weren't utilizing them. We have cell phones in the ambulance if they need to use a telephone, so we just canceled those. We're coming along with the floors out there at the station. I actually laid the last floor, the tile, and all we have is, so we've got the two offices done, all we have left is the hallway and the kitchen, and the bathrooms. We'll be done with that.
Then you'd be ready to move.
I've already moved.
You already moved.
Yep, I've already moved, so that's open. Because we got both offices done. And then if I could have 10 minutes for an executive session to visit about non-elected personnel.
I make a motion to go to executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, we go into executive session to non-elected personnel, 10 minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Well, the only thing that's all through dispatch.
I understand.
Is what's done there. But it's my understanding that it doesn't go through the teletype now.
Right.
It's direct now. So, anything that we hear can go out
I mean,
Well, we
they
have
should
2 or 3
receive
things we
quicker.
did specifically. Would you tell me what they are?
You know,
We got, did we get the weather radio? You were gonna purchase
we have a
something
weather
yourself.
radio, yeah, we have a weather radio. What we have a weather radio at the station. We have, now we have an emergency operations center where we can bring a dispatcher out, and actually man that quarters. Now, as far as, you know, the weather comes in so quickly over various different ways now that, but it's my understanding that the dispatch center's not receiving information like they were through teletype. That they receive it almost instantaneously now
How?
through,
Jeffy?
Yes, it's just through the computer. I mean,
Right.
Through the internet.
Over the internet, okay.
Right.
Okay, that's what that was the
so
question.
it's not the old
before they-
teletype type
Right.
method.
It's supposed to be faster, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what some people are, they're just not taking into account that Kansas weather is Kansas weather. And,
Well,
you
no,
know,
yeah, I understand
we'll get
that.
in certain watches and warnings, but we're not going to put out any. We're going to set off them sirens until we get that message, and sometimes you know it fools them, and they don't want to set them sirens off so many times and then have nothing happen and then have everybody just disregard them completely.
Yeah, can't cry wolf, I understand.
Right.
But I knew we'd taken steps, and I just couldn't even remember exactly what they were. I just wanted to be able to repeat it, so.
Yeah.
So we have a weather radio that we didn't have, we have a backup system, we're also getting it off the internet, not relying on the teletype.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Morning. You want me to go ahead? All right.
Return in session, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm not on your agenda, but I talked to Nita about this, and I felt I needed to visit with you about some legislation that's been introduced that might affect counties, well, that I believe will affect counties.
And you are?
I'm Judge Walters, Timmy Walters. Sorry.
You really didn't know?
My hair's growing. A lot of people, they don't even. Anyway, I put together a little packet, and I'll give you one as well.
I'm sorry,
It's the
I
water.
didn't know you didn't know.
Well, he does.
Do not.
Well, I swore you in, and I followed Alicia. We went to
Everybody
games
knows
together,
Alicia.
and I sat with your mom and dad. and-
Oh.
Hey,
What?
that's your story and you're sticking to it.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
A lot of times it's really nice when people don't know me because they haven't been in court, so that's a good thing.
Maybe my kids know.
Well,
You hope they know. Not professionally.
what I have provided to you is 3 bills that have been filed by the Supreme Court. They are now in the Senate Judiciary. And I felt like it was important for me to bring down these bills to kind of keep you informed of what's going on, whether or not they get voted on or out to the House or whatever. But Senate Bill 422, which I think has a direct impact on the counties, and it kind of leads into Senate Bill 423 and Senate Bill 425, the Supreme Court has wanting to amend the Judge Pro Tem statute, where the chief judge in our district would have to go to our departmental justice to ask for a pro tem. Which we never use pro tems except if we're all at a conference where we're mandated to go to, and that leaves the county without a judge, or we would appoint a pro tem. But I'm usually available 24/7, so I just didn't feel like we needed to have one. I know Jeff can call me at conference, I can call him. The city the same way, SRS, everybody. And because the reason why I never really wanted to do that is because there's a cost to the county. That I felt like if I could take care of it, even though I was in a remote place or, someplace else, that I could still take care of issues where we wouldn't have to spend that money on a pro tem. What this changes, instead of going to the departmental justice, it gives the chief judge of our judicial district the power to appoint a judge pro tem for good cause shown or in the absence, sickness, or disability of a district judge or a district magistrate judge. And I'm concerned about that because of what Senate Bill 423 says. 423 is the repeal of the one judge per county. We have provided testimony in opposition to, the district magistrate judges have testified in opposition to the Supreme Court, which is a position we didn't like to put ourselves in. The district judges were for what the Supreme Court wanted to do. What 423 does, it amends the statutes defining what judicial districts are and the appointments, and it tells the placement of how many district judges you can have. What it has done is they have stricken the language saying that you have to have so many district judge positions, and it just defines the judicial district. What was concerning to us is that they were amending those statutes dealing with the district judges, but when it came to the district magistrate judges, they were repealing, meaning they were going to take away those statutes and not replace them or amend them. And when I did give you a copy at the end of your packet there of 20-301B, which is the repeal of, which is the statute saying that we have to have one judge per county, and they're asking to have that repealed. 20-338 is also a statute that establishes district magistrate judge positions in judicial districts, and they're wanting to repeal that as well. Well, how that affects the constituents is what we was telling the committee, is that we feel like every county needs to have a district magistrate judge or judge in the county, because we feel like access to justice is very important to our constituents. And how 422 plays into this is by abolishing my position, which I believe is the plan, then the chief judge would assign a judge pro tem to cover the cases that I hear, and that would shift the cost to the counties. So it doesn't make any sense that you would want to do that. It's just a preference, I believe, that the Chief Justice has. And there is repercussion for me coming and making this public, but I feel like it's important enough for the constituents of Stafford County and for you to know the costs that you may incur. The fiscal note on each of these statutes, these bills, there is no fiscal savings at all. It makes no sense. So we are fighting the repeal of one judge per county as indicated in our testimony. The district judges are not. They are supporting the Chief Justice, and we are not. So we don't like to be in that position, but unfortunately we feel like we were placed in that position. Our position is this: if you want to repeal my position, then you need to give me a plan of what you're going to do, and there is no plan, a public plan that's in place. This is the district judge's testimony, and this is our testimony, the magistrate judges. So we are strongly opposing the repeal of one judge per county, and I believe you might have gotten a letter from Clark County Commissioners. The district magistrate judge there went down and visited with them upon filing of these bills. I wanted to see what was going to happen. I believe there's going to be some amendments, but they're not online yet for us to know, but that we are going to be notified as soon as that happens. So, 422, the judge pro tem, directly affects the cost to the counties. Because if they repeal or abolish my position, then the chief judge has the authority to assign a judge pro tem at your cost, okay? And 425 is the e-filing bill. Now, e-filing is one of those things where we have, the Chief Justice has 3 pilot programs going on as we speak from funds that he had gotten from a grant. He wants to have e-filing across the state of Kansas. Well, you might ask how that's going to affect you. He is going to come to commission meetings and say, and hand you, this is the equipment we need, and we need you to pay for this. We don't have the cost of what that's going to cost, but it will be substantial. And I felt like you needed to know that that could happen. As we know, some counties are just not going to have the funds to be able to do this. Not sure what the Chief Justice's plan is, but I don't have a good feeling about it. He is very angry with us at this point. In our testimony, we publicly opposed the Supreme Court in what they were wanting to do. And our reason was that we felt like there needed to be a plan, and that we needed to talk to our counties about it because there would be a cost to the county. And I think that the counties need to know up front. And I also think that our constituents need to know, because if they're going to, if the Supreme Court is going to abolish my position, I think our constituents need to know about it because it affects everybody. We don't like to lose what we already have. So I felt it important to come down and talk to you about this today, that there are costs. I can't tell you what the costs are, but I can also tell you that in the fiscal note, there is no cost savings to the state or anybody. It's just his idea of revamping the court systems. We're not sure we're online with him because we don't know what it is specifically. I know that we did have a commissioner from Norton County come and offer testimony in opposition to these bills. I don't know. I know 423, the one judge per county, is in the process of being amended, but I don't have any idea what that amendment is. I think that we all have important positions in this county, and that we consider our constituents first and foremost. I don't like how this was handled. We had to tell this committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, that the Supreme Court left us out of the loop. The district judges have left us out of the loop, and we feel that we've been wiped off the map, so to speak, because of the repeal of the one judge per county, and also the repealing the positions of the district magistrate judges in our judicial districts. So until we see a plan, we will not support them. So we have taken a stand against the Supreme Court. So I kind of, and I'm not hiding the fact, you know, I mean, if they're going to kick me out, I'm going to go kicking and screaming, because I believe that I have this position is a very viable position, whether I have it or somebody else has it. It is a viable position in this community. When they took away our SRS offices, I don't know if you remember when they did that, was Mel Minor and they had assured him that they were not going to take away our SRS office, and they did. And when that happened, there was no mechanism in place to monitor the people that were not getting services. I can tell you who those people are because they came to my office. Jeff can tell you because they came to his office. There were people that don't have the resources to drive. They don't know how to use computers. They have access points. And when they become quite frustrated, they come to our office. I have set up doctor's appointments. I've taken them to doctor's appointments. We've done things together with the city and the sheriff. We have done things that aren't part of our jobs, but we felt compelled to do that because there were people in need. And so we do go over and beyond what we need to do. Not everybody in our positions will do that, but we have a strong sense of need in our community and want to be able to help out as much as that we can. Well, there is no mechanism in place if they would repeal the one judge per county. How many people in Stafford County would not have access to the judiciary? There's no mechanism in place to monitor that. And that was another thing that we had said to the legislators. Legislators were not happy about many things in these bills and in the manner in which they were presented by the Supreme Court, and the district judges. I'm going to go, I'm in Great Bend on Wednesdays, and I'm going to visit with Judge Keeley, our chief judge, and I'm going to tell him I came down to talk to you what my concerns are. I have been asking him, I have been asking other members on his legislative committee what their position is as far as the repeal of the one judge per county, and we got nothing. Only until our testimony was put together and presented last week, last Thursday, did we find out anybody's position, from the Supreme Court to the district judges. And obviously, if you read the testimony, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum here is what we believe is important. We are not just protecting our jobs, we feel that we are protecting the constituents of Stafford County. And I truly believe that. We don't want to lose any more than we already have. So I just wanted to give you an update to what's going on, and if there's amendments to any of these bills, I can give them to Nita, and she'll have them. And if you have any questions, then just always feel free to ask me about them. I'm on the legislative committee for the magistrate judges, so we're going to have to, we put testimony together, we have to testify. So I don't want you to not feel like you can't call me, but I think you might be getting some more information from other counties, and I think it's at KAC, is that it?
KAC.
CAT, what is it?
KAC.
KAC, your association of counties. I think that you might be getting information in support of the magistrate judges. We're hoping that the bill gets killed in committee. You never know when it gets up that far. So I just want you to know that there are costs that will be assessed to the counties. They're not telling us what they are, but I think there'll be substantial costs to the counties, especially with the implementation of the e-filing. So.
Well, and just on the sheriff's, we're against this.
We have your support as well as the police.
Right. You know, if they take her position away, we'll have to go to Great Bend to get search warrants signed. We'll have to go there for any signature of a judge. And
I think you'll have a pro tem. I think there'll be an assignment of a pro tem, which will be at a cost to the county. I think as you see most things that happen when they're trying to cut costs on the state level, they always shift costs to the counties. And, you know, that's kind of the move here that I see. I can't for sure say that that's going to happen, but when I see the judge pro tem change, the language change in the statute, I see the repeal of the one judge per county, I think that's what they're going to use. And the Chief Justice wants to get that done so he doesn't have to come and ask you for permission. That is not right. And we told him that wasn't right. I'm on the chopping block, let me tell you. But I feel strongly enough about it, you know. Out of the state budget, where the general budget, the judicial has, you know, 2% of the state budget. And out of that 2%, to have district court here, and me here, and the girls upstairs, is 0.21%. It's a drop in a bucket. So that's going to be our next argument, is to say you don't really have your ducks in a row. It doesn't cost. Where you need to have to be more efficient is in your urban areas where they're top heavy with district judges. For a district judge, an AA, and a court reporter, you can get 3 magistrate judges. If you compare a district judge to a district magistrate judge, if you would replace one, a district judge with a magistrate judge, you would have a cost savings of $77,000. So that's going to be our argument for cost savings.
You said you don't really know why they're doing this, or savings isn't the reason. What is their motive? Where is this coming from?
We had asked for a plan. We met with the Chief Justice for an hour before we had to we had a meeting up there, and we talked to him for about an hour to say, somebody needs to let us have a seat at the table, somebody needs to quit excluding us, especially if we're on the chopping block, we need to have a say, because we represent our constituents. We're not representing our positions, we're representing our constituents. Well, that was kind of a novel idea on our part, apparently. And we were told that there wasn't a plan. Yet, when a legislator asked those testifying, how are you going to take a position from an elected area to a retention and vice versa? And the chief got up and answered and said, well, we can't answer that because we don't have a plan. And then it went on, and he was very angry. He was angry at us because we brought up the plan. We feel like we're entitled to know what a plan is, and we don't need to be excluded. And then he went further to say, and they asked him about that, and he went on to say, well, we don't have a plan, because if we have a plan and we take it to the legislature, this one isn't going to like this part, and this one isn't going to like this part, and then when it goes to committee, we don't know where we're at. So he pretty much said, we want to leave you out of the loop. We're saying it needs to go to the legislature because that's where your checks and balances are.
But why are they doing it anyhow? I mean,
We don't know. There's no plan available
I
to us.
understand there's no plan.
I wish I could honestly
but
tell
they've got to
you.
have a motive for going through
If
all
I
this.
had to guess, it would be rural versus urban.
They're-
But I can't even tell you what a plan is. I know that they had a Blue Ribbon Commission study. I read it. There is a plan in there, but it's not stated such as this is what we're wanting to do. They went to the legislator and said, we have to get rid of this one judge per county issue before we can even make a plan. Well, I'm sorry. If you're going to go to the legislature and you're going to ask to do this, this is phase one of the plan. That doesn't seem to exist. So we called him on it, and it's not been pleasant. But, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, whether it is to put more judges in the
in the urban
Urban
areas and take
versus-
them away from the rural
right.
areas.
And,
That's what
I
it sounds like.
wish I could tell you. As soon as I have a plan, I will share it. But I wanted to talk to you about it because there will be these costs to the county, the judge pro tems, and the implementation of e-filing. FYI. And I'm on record. Like on this income. So anyway, if you have any questions about this, and as I get more information, I will bring it down to you and get it to Nita. If you want me to make a presentation on it, I will. I'm going to go talk to my chief judge and say, hey, are you finally going to sit down and talk to me about this? Because we are not getting answers. And I'm going to tell him I came and talked to you. I don't hide things, so if he's not going to like it, I'll tell you. But my obligation is to Stafford County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions, just call.
All right,
I'll be
thanks.
glad to answer.
Thanks. very
Thanks. Thank you.
much. Step right up now, man.
I don't have anything here, so Heather. All I have is a hideaway grant for down here on the Southwest Road. It'll just be a bore. Emerald Electric's doing it for Petro somebody.
Petro Electric, on the low.
And Emerald does good work, so there's no problem with it.
Well, a mile and a half south of St. John?
No,
Two?
it'd be 3 miles south of 50, and then a quarter back west of the curve on the Southwest Road.
Oh,
It's all dirt now, but they're still bored. They need to. I wouldn't let them, trenching and just cause us lots of problems.
so you don't have a problem with that, right?
No, sir.
I make a motion we forget these right-of-way grants.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, we elect right-of-way grants. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah, it seems like every 10 or 15 years, the Supreme Court thinks they need to do that with the magistrates for some reason.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I can remember them doing when Dad was a magistrate.
Well, I'm just learning the court system, magistrate, district, and all that, it's all news to me. It seems like they're saying, we got enough judges, but we're gonna take them away from these rural counties and Put them where we need them the most, right?
Is it more just a control thing for them?
Well, see,
Part of it.
yeah, a lot of times see, they was trying to push it where all magistrates had to be lawyers.
Right.
Well, there's lawyers that took that test and never could pass it.
Yeah, it's just,
It's just a
any
big
other
game.
judge has to be an attorney.
It's just a big,
So you think the attorneys are the ones bringing this about? They're wanting to make it more?
I don't know, but like Phil said, it happens about every 10 years or so.
15 years, yeah.
And the Sheriff's Association always fights it. I mean, we gotta have magistrate judges.
Well, it's usually, it's
Oh,
just like any
yeah.
other organization, the magistrates are involved, so the magistrates do the bulk of
The real work.
Yeah, well,
the preliminary work,
right.
so they're the easiest to get hold of. Yeah, a magistrate or a district judge doesn't, they get as much time off as they need. At their discretion. Yeah, it's not set in stone. Fine. Anybody else want to go back over it? We're having mine safety. Don't invite
Are you
people.
skipping out or what? Should you
No.
be learning this stuff?
Yeah, important stuff.
I
We have an important
We have
meeting
to
to go
stay
to,
extra,
then
stay late.
we'll have to pass.
So we'd love to be there.
You can go practice your CPR this afternoon.
Okay.
How many's over there? Looks like quite a few. The parking lot's still going. It's a nice one.
We brought the whole crew up.
Okay.
I mean, it's a safety deal to do the CPR, so. It's part of, get our training all done now, wait for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, CPR especially. So.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, thank you. See you.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, I got several things. First, Abby's carpet is supposed to be here this afternoon to measure. And I wanted to make sure I know, when we first started talking about this, I know that I brought it up, but the whole idea is to give more room to my people. The dispatch office, I'm gonna have them measure that as well, because it's been leaked twice in that carpet, I'm sure, and I wanna make sure you guys were aware I was gonna have to do that too. Another question I have, the deputy's room now, we put a wall in there, I don't know, mid-90s, for the trooper to have an office. Well, now that the trooper's gonna be down on the other end, I wanna take that wall out to give him more space. And Phil said he can do that, but the wall in the dispatch center, he doesn't wanna mess with because of all the wires. And I understand that, but I'm gonna have to try to get a bid from someone to take that wall out, because the whole idea is to open that up in dispatch.
You may have reviewed it, but I'm not at all, I don't remember at all what we were gonna do in your existing office.
Okay. Well, when we're done up here, when you guys are done, if you want, I can show you. I mean, it'd be easier to show you.
Sure.
Okay. And one other thing, Martin County has bought a whole new console, tables, everything, and their old existing tables where they have their console, it's a lot newer than ours. It's got, well, there's foot controls that you can raise and lower for your monitors and your keyboards, and I talked to them, and they said that they would sell that for $1,000, which is really reasonable. And Steve Moody said if need be, he'd kick in half of it just to help get some newer equipment down there. So I didn't know if that'd be all right to pursue
So
that.
they bought a new one? What's the new one cost?
I honestly haven't priced them, but I'm sure they're, I would guess upwards of $5,000-6,000 for that. But
And this is pretty good shape, you said.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes in 3 sections. So, but I think it was, I have to let them know by the 26th, I believe it was. What's next Monday?
Yes.
27th.
27th.
Okay. So I gotta let them know by then, if you want it. And the last thing, it's time for Rob's vehicle to be replaced. It's got $130,000 on it, a little over that now. So I got bids from Marmies and Dunes. And there were 2 Dodges, a Ford and a Chevy, and the one Dodge, I mean, they're pretty much identical, except one's just a new police package, and it's a promotional deal, so it's cheaper. It doesn't have a center console like the other Dodge, but it's got a place already for radios. And I mean, I'd like to get it if I can. It's already got the tire outfit alternator.
So this is the pickup?
Yeah.
You had the
They're all, huh?
You had the Explorer before, right?
Right. One thing we found about the Explorers, I mean, it's fine to have a couple, but just like the other day when Rob was out and there was some trash from the meth lab, well, can't put that in the Explorer.
You guys got all pickups now,
Well, yeah, we still got 2 Explorers.
Explorer.
Right, Bill's got the last one.
Looks like cheap funds, the
Plus
Dodge, for
package,
18,353, it's a couple thousand.
Right.
The next one's good, isn't it? And this got the police package on already, so it's easier to hook up to and everything, the radios and everything.
Right.
Got a bigger, alternator on and all that stuff.
Well, they sure don't give you much for the trade-in.
Yeah. No, but actually, I've noticed that's another thing, our pickups, they give us more for the pickups than they do the SUV.
How many vehicles do you have?
Well, we have 5 counting the transport van, well, and then we have a dare car, which was seized.
What do you use it for besides
Parades.
Parade.
Sometimes the dare officer takes it once a year to show the kids and ride around in it.
It's basically about half of list price on it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 32, right?
36.
Okay.
36,585 total cost.
Remember.
Well, this is the only one you have to replace, just having bad accidents with the other gentleman.
No?
Maybe 2 or 3 one time, huh?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that?
Well, I did that, you knock off with it. It's happened at the,
Well, yeah, it has. Well, I'll tell you, those deer guards, as I call them, those have saved us some money.
oh yeah, right now.
So on all these, Jeff, they're giving you $5,000 for the trade-in.
Right. Well, I think all of them, I can't remember what,
That's what I saw.
I can't remember what Dune is, but
Right here, 5,000 on it, not right, 5,000 on the Dodge.
So you're favoring the Ram with the police package?
yeah, I'm really not a huge Dodge fan, but from what I talked to some other sheriffs, and even Phil said a while ago, they've got their warnings are better than they used to be, and the drivetrain's supposed to be better, and, because years past, we had 2 different Dodge pickups that had transmission problems, if you remember. But that was a few years back. But I guess just because it's already set up for the
I think
police package.
the police package ought to probably be beefed up more anyhow, but
Right.
it should be.
And I asked why it's cheaper than the regular Dodge, and they said that it was a promotional deal. Their first year they made them, and they're
Try to get
on
on
the
the
sell
road.
them.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Nope.
Go ahead and make the motion. Allow Jeff to pursue the Dodge Ram police package from Armies for a bid price of $18,353.
I'll second motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, we accept a bid price of $18,353 for the Dodge Ram. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you have to order these, probably don't they?
Motion carried.
So, okay. Well, when we get done here, we'll come down.
Okay.
And did you get another bid from the local person? Must
Haven't
not
seen
be
it.
interested, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We'll be down.
You're gonna be down there? We'll just meet you
Yeah.
down. Recess. We're done.